This is the Power Element Podcast, episode 73. All right, if you're new to the show, my name is Paul. I produce this podcast. I am a Journeyman Lineman betrayed. Raul, your host, is a Journeyman Lineman as well, and he currently serves as the Director of Operations, T&D, here at Sturgeon, California. All right, in studio, special guest today is Jay Clark. Jay is a superintendent for Wilson Construction. Jay has tons of experience and has a great perspective, so we decided to go with a question and discussion style episode that does not disappoint. All right, quick ownership piece. If you're watching the video version, the camera that's on me, it is not consistent. It flat out does not look good. I will get better at this. Appreciate your patience. Once again, got to get better. All right, first up, now Promotional Partners. Milwaukee Tool. Since the company began in 1924, Milwaukee Tool has led the industry in developing innovative solutions that deliver increased productivity and unmatched durability for professional construction users. Head on over to MilwaukeeTool.com or on Instagram at Milwaukee Tool for the latest and greatest. All right, I'm gonna nail this one. Dragonware. Looking for gear that works as hard as you do? Dragonware's Pro Dry Tech collection has you covered, literally, with moisture wicking performance, inherent FR protection, and year-round comfort is built for the job. Plus, you get UPF 50 plus sun protection, NFPA 70E certification, and Cat 2 protection. Now available in 6 colors and styles for both men and women. Find your fit at dragonware.com. All right, next up, Total Safety Supplies and Solutions. Total Safety Supplies and Solutions is your one-stop shop for all your job site tools, PPE garments, rubber goods, testing, and more. With locations spread across the United States, you can expedite and simplify your day-to-day needs with a vast assortment of trustworthy services and solutions. Visit TotalSafety.com. We are your preferred tooling, supplies, and service experts. All right, next up, High Voltage Industries, the biggest brand on Instagram showcasing all aspects of the high voltage industry. These guys have been working for nearly 10 years on showing the world what we do and how the industry gets it done every day. Check out their Instagram page at highvoltage_industries. They have some of the best merch in the game. Head on over to highvoltageindustries.com. Once again, that's highvoltageindustries.com. If you're watching the video version of the show, I have the Black Storm Coat hat on, and Raul is rocking the League Classic Snapback Blue and the Skeleton Crew Tee, which happens to be one of the best sellers. Check it out. Use promo code POWERELEMENT to get 10% off your order. Other Promotional Partners, Klein Tools, partner with us on our Crew of the Month. Co Eyewear, use promo code POWERELEMENT for 15% off at checkout. All right. We'll get to the show, but first, do me a favor. Ensure you're following the show on all platforms and give us a like and give us a share. Appreciate it a lot. All right, last but not least, I want to thank the entire Sturgeon Electric California workforce. Without you, this podcast would not be possible. All right, let's get to the show. The Power Element Podcast. Jay Clark. Enjoy the show.
What is up, guys? This is the Power Element Podcast, episode 73. Man, that music is pumping.
I'm going to turn it up for you.
Jeez, turn it up.
What'd you think, man? We got taste of summer yesterday. We did 89, 90 degrees.
Oh, you cannot beat this Southern California weather. I'm sorry.
Is the pool ready?
The pool is ready. It's ready to go. We don't use it as much as I would like to, though. It seems like the pools are just not used like I would like to, but they're always nice to have. The spa, now, come on, like, you know, hard swinging to golf and that back and that spa, come on.
What about cold plunging? A lot of people cold plunge in the pool. You do that?
Oh, man, I just can't. I don't know, I can't.
I got you.
I don't like it when it's cold. You?
No, I'm not a cold water guy.
I'm not liking that cold water, but anyways. How you doing?
Good, man.
You ready to do this?
Yeah, appreciate you coming in. Excited for the guest. Excited that you're in here.
Real excited for our guest.
Good stuff.
You want to start us with a quote?
I got a quote for you.
Let's get the show on the road and see what our guest.
Yeah, thanks, man. Let me know what you guys think about the quote.
Let's hear it.
All right, here we go. True leadership is about channeling strength and vision into impactful actions that inspire others to follow. Raul,
Powerful. Where'd you get that quote from?
I can't tell you. See, I don't know.
Just put it in the show notes?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I think.
What comes first? Do you think the strength or the vision as a leader? What are you looking at first?
Well, I think you gotta have strength, but as a leader, you gotta have that vision to push your message forward. You gotta be clearly aligned, which we talked a little bit about the last podcast too. If you guys checked it out with Mr. Casey Lavin, and I think having strength and vision, having both, is the true form of extreme ownership. To be honest with you,
what's the hardest thing for you to implement? That strength or that vision? Starting hard, man. I'm going to swing. And baseball season about to start.
Got the baseball hat on today. I think it's a mixture of both. I think one thing is to have perspective, right? And you got to have that vision. But it's easy to say, hard to do, to even apply that vision to get other people to buy into it. I think that as leaders is difficult. But I tell you what, who does it really well, because I saw it personally, and I saw it up at the Malibu Canyon Fire, and it was our next guest. And his way of bringing everybody together during a safety meeting, multiple safety meetings we had up there, was very, very, I think, visionary. I talked to him about it, and he said, what we're going to do? We're going to have a all contractor safety meeting. And it super impressed me, because I think that's the only really key to success, is removing the silos, communicating as an industry, no matter what shirt you wear, no matter what emblem that you have on them trucks. I think it's important that we align. And I saw it firsthand, so I want to introduce our next guest, Mr. Jay Clark, 35-year veteran, Journeyman Lineman, the Jay Clark.
Yeah.
But no, I want to tell you, man, that was super impressive to see that up there at that Malibu Canyon. I think it was. I think ultimately the men were able to take a lot out of it, but to see us unite as one, and multiple contractors, tons of dudes, and our customer too. I think it was very, very awesome of you to do. So thank you. And I think it was. A tribute to the success of that project. What do you think?
I think it had actually a profound effect, just in the fact that I drive by all these dudes. I've worked with them. They were my apprentices, a lot of them, whatever. That's probably why they hid. But, we didn't have tinted windows necessarily, and everybody's kind of got the old finger up as we go by, and it's that's stupid to me at this point. I mean, when you get older in this trade, you want to have competitiveness, but you don't want to be stupid about it. We're all brothers at the end of the day. And I seen a need for that, because nobody was communicating. And then we got, our customer feeling as though they might have to police us or something in those yards, and they didn't have to when we all got together and policed ourselves. It was pretty cool.
That's the strongest form of culture.
Yeah.
Did you think?
Yeah, we just got everybody together, and everybody's like, it made sense.
Everybody does the right thing.
The only part that I feel that really played in it is I had enough guts to do that part of it. And that's not, that's a little risky. Some people would go, who the hell does this dude think he is? I'm sure there was some of that response too from some people, but in all reality, it came from the heart, and I meant it. I'm nothing special, but I want to go out there and at least make a difference. If you do this long enough and you find that I've made a lot of mistakes along the way, dude. Like a lot.
Yeah, I think we all have.
Approach to people and stuff like that. I mean, I'm working on those things, but when you have passion for something, it's not a bad thing to show it. I noticed that whenever I watch this podcast. I used to clown you guys at first, to be honest with you, because I didn't understand it. But I actually got a lot of respect for it now. I think it's pretty cool. We're going to have to find the way to reach people. And it's going to be through dialogue. It's not going to be that chest puffing thing that we used to do, and when we came in the yard, everybody knew we were here and all that kind of stuff. That's got to go out the window. Now that I'm older and I got to deal with those type of people, I'm like going, my God, what a nightmare we must have been at one point. You know what I mean? We can change that. And I want to let all the younger dudes know that the real attraction is to not act that way, to be really good at your craft and be humble. Those are the dudes we want to have.
No, yeah. I think if you were dodging paintballs coming into the yard.
Yeah. You remember those days, huh?
Dodging rubber bullets flying by your head. We've come a long way as a trade.
We used to shoot our apprentices where they took too long.
Oh, it was bad, bro. Yeah. It's getting peppered with this paintballs constantly.
Ask Mark Howell. I even let a customer shoot him.
But yeah, it was definitely a different time. But I agree with you, man. We're gonna have to do something, and I think you showed it, And I've known you a while, and I can see I don't know, an improvement, but a change in the way you're thinking. And I was super impressed with the way you talk to the guys. And you're right, it took being a little bit vulnerable in the sense to get out in that group and say, or even make the phone call and say, hey, we're going to have a joint safety meeting. All of us are going to get together, no matter what company you work for. And I thought it was really impressive, but you're right. We're going to have to be vulnerable in the sense, but we're also going to have to check our egos. You pounded your chest, and you're right. It's okay to have some ego and be some, we still got to have some swagger and some confidence, but there's a balance. And I totally agree with you, man. But how did you get into this trade, man? Because a lot of people want to know Mr. Jay Clark and his story and how he got in. And I think it'd be a great little starting point if we could, Paul.
Yeah, I'm ready, man.
Just for our listeners, we're going to change it up a little bit after we talk a little bit about Jay's background and go back in time a little bit. But we're also going to have a little Q&D episode, which is going to be cool. We got some questions and some discussion, and I think getting Jay's experience and applying it to what we can do to get better as an industry is going to be super fun and super critical for us as we move into the new era and the technology of this industry that we're in. So, Jay, let's go back in time. How did you get in the trade, man? Let's go back in time a little bit.
I was in a logging camp up in Alaska, and I think it was 88. And the camp shut down in November. And so I got a hold of my brother John, who had a grocery outlet when they very first came out. You know those outlets?
Mm-hmm.
He had one of the first one in Southern California down in Chula Vista. So I called him. I go, hey, dude, I haven't seen you in a long time. I kind of want to get out of here, the Alaska scene. So I flew down from Anchorage to San Diego. He was letting me drive his convertible in November. I couldn't believe it. I got to live here. Oh, I'd been up there in the absolute. I mean, if it's not the bugs and wildlife and all that they show you on the clips and stuff on commercials is real. I mean, you see that every day.
How old were you at this time?
Oh hell, 21.
21 years old.
22.
Just logging.
Yeah, I was a logging machine.
Jeez.
You were surfing.
My whole family was into that kind of stuff, and everywhere where I grew up, that's what everybody did. They were loggers.
Loggers, yeah.
You shotgun a rifle and a 4-wheel drive, dude, for real. And elk hunting is a national pastime, and it's just the way it is.
That's pretty cool, man.
Up in those little sticks up in the Northwest. But
the closest thing to logging I've seen is the Alaskan. Dude, the show.
Yeah,
it's pretty much the same.
Well, the Axeman.
Those dudes are all gnarly, bro.
Yeah.
Like
that show, the Axeman. I grew up with some of those knuckleheads.
Did you?
Yeah.
Now I know where it comes from.
Is it pretty realistic, that show?
Is it pretty realistic?
No.
No.
There's a little bit of it, but like they showed this big, huge carriage sailing down the hill.
Yeah.
With that little green machine, that thing could barely pick that carriage up. I mean, it was all for show. I mean, but the guys,
the loggers up
there,
yeah.
they're animals, dude.
Yeah.
Like they're hardcore people. They can take a licking and keep on ticking.
How did you get into that business?
Because that's all they do up there where I'm from. Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
Wow.
Logging and fishing.
Awesome.
Logging and fishing is it. And so
you're cruising down the highway in this convertible.
Yeah, I'm cruising down the highway in this convertible.
21-year-old Jay.
Feeling pretty cool.
And long hair too? Long
I had long hair at the time, old Goldilocks. God damn, that was a long time ago. And I seen these dudes up on a pole. And I used to climb in top trees and rig them for the big slackline machines and stuff. So I go, man, maybe I could get that job. So I went and talked to them. It was SDG&E. And they go, well, you wouldn't know a damn thing when you got up here. You're an idiot, basically. So one of the dudes that was on the ground, he's a contractor. At one time was a contractor. He goes, nah, you don't want to be here, dude. He goes, you want to go to the outside line contractors. And at that time, Russ Cridlin was running it there in Garden Grove.
Oh, man, you went.
And that's back there with Freddie. Freddie Barker was working at the apprenticeship at the time. And there was, I think Bill Brockman had just gotten out and Russ took over or some deal like that. But that was the year that it all went down in 91. So anyway, I went and I applied, and then I brought some videotapes of me topping these big monster spruce up in Alaska. And I remember John Brown.
They're probably Polaroids too.
Well, they did have the throwaway cameras for sure, dude. But I mean, I bought the video, the big one.
Yeah.
What do you call those VCRs?
No, the VCRs?
Yeah. It's full-blown VCR days, dude. Cell phones weren't Cell phones were the big old brick.
Oh
remember?
yeah. Oh hell yeah.
Oh yeah. So that's the era I'm talking about. So anyway, long story short, I got picked number 2 out of 600 applicants because my video looked pretty cool.
Awesome.
And they're like going, "Are you really that crazy to do that?" And I go, "Oh yeah, I know, all day long. I mean, I grew up doing it."
Yeah.
So anyway, I got in, and it forever changed my life, to be honest with you, because I look at this. What were the options for a 21-year-old kid in Alaskan logging camp?
Not much.
Nothing.
Yeah, not much.
You're going to be a broken down old man if you survive it.
Yeah.
Drugs, alcohol, I mean, fighting, whatever. I mean, I come from a really rough background. That's just the way it is. I mean, I started it young, and it was a generational thing. So to get that blessing of being in this trade, I already knew I was in something special, dude. First job, Monday morning. We want you in Las Vegas, Nevada, Monday morning. And I'd never been in a city where you can stay up all night and shit. It was, yeah.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
there was some rough mornings and stuff over in Vegas. But to be honest with you, as this thing transpired, I knew that this was, because the logging industry is similar, but it's harder work. Like, I mean, you work your butt off. You'll burn 8,000 calories a day, they figure.
Jeez.
Yeah. 8,000 calories a day is what they figure. And that's what they put in your, that when you eat in those cook shacks, it's the real deal. But I knew I was in something special because I started doing the math on retirements and stuff like that. We had what they called the Tongass Trust. You would get $250 a month once you got like 20 years in or something.
That's good.
The Tongass Trust.
Yeah. So no, I'm serious.
Cash that out.
I was almost vested in that thing. I was all proud. Oh, I'm going to get my $250. I'll be all busted up. The truth of the matter is that there's nothing like this industry, period, anywhere for any young kid that's got, the abilities to be a little mechanical and have some savvy. This is for you.
Was there some clear defining moments when you said, "This is it. This is for me"?
Yeah, the first time I went out on the job.
It was it, huh?
Yeah, dude. I'm like, holy shit. And we were doing underground. And I loved it. So that proves that it was something cool.
Yeah.
But just the whole thing, whenever the climbing school part of it, and then me and Lane Berkey become best friends right then and there.
Oh, Lane.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, love that dude.
Yep.
And then Crocker and, all of us.
All those dudes.
Yeah, those were all my climbing. That
So
was my climbing
awesome.
cast. Roy Duncan.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole slew of us. And that's back when the work turned crappy, though. So in 1991 is when they did the early buyout, I think, or 92, something like that. I remember Russell Nolan and us had a bunch of wire spread, and he goes, "Let's go spread the wire on these jobs too, just to get them started." And I said, "Nah, we'll go put your hot arms away and clip that wire back in." Contractors
You're
were
done. Yeah.
Contractors were gone in 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
So then it was back down to San Diego, and then there's only 2 or 3 contractors competing there, and then Palo Alto and different municipalities and stuff that everybody was fighting for. It was crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Same
rough.
kind for me, dude. Like, I was way later than you. 97, I got indentured, and work was just picking up back then.
Yeah.
A little getting busier,
Yep.
but it was still like a bunch of pull programs, and
Mhm.
we had some little work in Anaheim. But I remember the day that I got laid off, and I had quit a pretty good job to take the apprenticeship, right? And I'm like, you know what? In my opinion, I thought it was a good job. I was young, 18 or whatever, 19, and I remember when I got laid off, and I was like, man, I'm traveling all over just to get 40 hours, right? I'd go to this job, I go to that job, call the apprenticeship director, hey, I need another job. It's just different. It was a different time.
Total.
Which we're kind of getting there now a little bit. We're shifting again to where it's a little bit slower. But I said to myself, I quit a good job for this. I was moving furniture just to pay the bills on the side. You know what I mean? Like, I was just doing what I can to provide for myself. But there was those defining moments when you were actually working that you're like, this is it.
Yeah.
To your point, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. This is awesome, from the camaraderie to the relationships you build with guys, to the fun you have in the field. There was nothing else I was going to do. And then obviously starting to get in the leadership roles, it changed too. Like, you start to enjoy being a mentor and leading, and those things were, seemed to outweigh some of the negative about our trade at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. As far as, do you remember when you took a leadership role? Like a foreman, or start leading guys, or?
When I was a 6-step apprentice, I told the foreman sucked so bad. I told him I'm running the crew for a week. Oh, I'll never forget. I was on an ice storm back in Nebraska, and they put a bunch of ding-dongs together. And I'd work with really good dudes out here.
Oh, yeah.
Russell and Mark and all these dudes. Mickey Walsh and all the old school dudes. So I think what happened is I got kind of mentored by the dudes that just finished the last Highline roll. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they're back doing some distro work and stuff. And I mean, if they would talk about trick rigging, we had it, you know, it had jerk pin and everything or something cool, you know,
Something that was good.
They were all about it. Stuff you probably couldn't do today, but it was still pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't take my first crew till I'd probably been a journeyman for 4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years.
Yeah. They tried to get me to prior, but I was having fun as a lineman.
Yeah.
Then I took some crews, and I've gone back and forth, to be honest with you. Hell, I was cutting dead ends on the 500 in my 40s, running up and down, you know, whatever, no big deal.
Yeah.
It's not, see, the master's not above the servant, kind of, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can be up here, and I can be down here, and I can be doing the same shit. Don't really matter. I'm running shit out there in the field. I don't need, the good thing about it is that they know, okay, we got us one that we don't need to babysit, right? And I take pride in that part of it. You know, I really tried to learn the craft. I feel sorry for dudes, dude, that haven't.
Yeah.
Some people never got a chance to really hang out in their tools very much. And the trades kind of almost changed to the point where if you got a good head on your shoulders and stuff, they'll put you in that leadership role, but necessarily it might kind of screw you a little bit. And back in my era, it wasn't so much. It was, you know, I always worked with the same group of dudes, and he was always going to be the boss for a while. Hell, to this day, I still look at him as like the boss. It's kind of funny. Taylor and some of those dudes that were rolling with us, they're not even really in the industry anymore, but I still got that respect for them because we all rolled like that. And I know that they're pretty good linemen. They know their shit. So when we'd have conversations about rigging or what we were going to do, and we're flying these towers in, or we're going to do a certain thing, the way we went about it, when I would explain it, they they know what they're talking about. And that was kind of refreshing. I can do that there's about several people I can call and ask questions. I do it to this very day.
I think that's a good, useful tool for a resource.
Yeah,
right?
man.
Like I think it makes it really easy, our trade, because we're not going to know everything.
No.
Like, let's just face it. Like,
shouldn't you even have to.
No, I mean, like you said, like there's a lot of leaders today that maybe don't spend a lot of time in their tools because, like you said, they got a good head on their shoulders.
Yeah.
You know, they can run men. They're good leaders, but maybe they don't know everything. I think where the problem comes is when you think you know everything.
Or you're not willing to call somebody and let them know that you don't know.
Yeah. And you just reach out and say, hey man, like, I don't know. It's probably the best thing you could say at this point if you don't know, because there are people like yourself that are experienced, and there's people out there that you could call. I mean, even I do that, Jay.
I call all the time.
I do that all the time. Yeah.
Like let's say I work with Doug Dixon and those guys, right? And Doug, they worked non-union forever, but they were building Highlines back when we didn't have the work, right?
Yeah.
So they got some little tricks, and I was paying attention to them. And when they came over with PAR and started running some of that stuff, and they're union now, so whatever. And I paid attention to stuff. I was clowning them at first too, like, why would you do stupid shit like this? And I started watching how this thing flowed, like short catching. You got 15-ton hoist and you're short catching right to the tower, right? I thought that's the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, what a bunch of doofs. Why aren't we going in the bells?
Just go right into it.
But what's cool about that is you're at SAG.
Yeah.
All that wire right there is all getting cut out. Anyway, you can leave them in those grips as long as you want. You put a padlock through the chain. You're legal. It's the same as a field snub. And you can go clip everything. You're good to go. You put safeties on it. You're all good. And then the detonators can come in at any point in time and do that. There's not going to be that, oh, we got to wait to dead end.
And then clip. Yeah.
So now I do it that way. Every single job that I run into, and I can beat normal people that would go out and do it the way that we used to. I can beat them by 30 days in a job. Just smoke them.
Huge.
Because the clippers are clipping, and then they're moving on to the next wire pole, getting it all rigged up, and the detonators behind finishing that shit up, and it all just goes like a machine.
Yeah.
And I started watching that stuff happen. I'm like, wow, man, I was missing out. And I called Tommy Brown and some of the dudes. Dude, these guys are having me short catch with 15 tons. What a bunch of idiots. He's like, what a bunch of dumbasses. But it was a trick. It was a trick that they had learned along the way. And there's a whole bunch of those little tiny nuances that isn't really that big of a deal, but is the deal. It's pretty cool. And then now you get to put that in your ditty bag, just like you did everything else that you ever learned. And now I own that shit.
And I think that's so important that these these I don't know these Indian tricks, if you will,
Yeah, man.
like are passed through, because if not, I mean that's just devastation for our industry.
It is.
It's in every aspect,
Yeah.
in leadership, in work practices, procedures, trainings, all that shit,
Yeah.
right? No, that's cool, man. So as far as now, what do you do now,
Superintendent for Wilson Construction.
and
down
how's
there.
that going?
It's good. I love the company. They're great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don Wilson's a patriot. His daughter's a patriot. We got American flags on our trucks. You know, I'm into that shit. I think this country's the best thing that's ever happened to any of us. I think we're very fortunate to have it. We went through really weird this last 10 years or whatever has been a little weird, but this is the COVID thing, and I'm not going to get into politics, but
Yeah.
the last 4 years got weird, you know, girls and dudes sports and vice versa, and I'm watching a dude going to beat up a girl in boxing, and I'm thinking, well, I could be a professional boxer then. I stand a good chance
I'm in.
of getting a gold medal, man. I'm in.
Put me in, coach.
I'd be the ugliest chick you've ever seen, but I'm not.
Yeah, I get it.
I'm not jousting at anybody for that, but I think it's wrong that we shouldn't have people competing like that. It's not fair.
Well, it
And
kind of, not to get into it too much either, but it kind of divided us a little bit.
completely divided us.
In industry and culture. I mean, family and neighbors. I mean, it really started dividing us.
100%.
And I think to have the unity is the only way you're going to be, strong
Yeah.
and have, to get through issues, or to, get through whatever you want to get through, and
Yeah.
build up a culture.
Yeah.
You can't be divided.
No.
You know what I mean? That's not gonna be good for anybody.
And I don't know if we're getting any closer to getting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of hard to tell if we're getting any closer to getting our country back together, but we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
have to give it a little bit of time.
Give it a little bit of time.
We'll see what happens.
So, superintendent for Wilson has its challenges, I'm sure, has its rewards.
Yeah.
One of the things when I look back at, my days as superintendent, GFs, or being a leader, there's that kind of those burdens, if you will. Guys going home safely, making sure that the company gets what they need, the clients get what they need. What are some of the challenges you think that we have out there, and that you currently have, or that you think you're experiencing?
Well, I got one.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually been kind of on a safety kick, clear back from, I'd have to say, well, when I was doing all that TRTP work, and we had all that Mount Wilson work and the Sunrise Project, Devers Palos Verde line, all that, I actually had the burden of thinking I was going to lose somebody, because we were doing pretty wild stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, we're flying towers every day, and then when those guys got everything back bolted and all that, we're right behind it flying sock line, and we just multiple helicopter work with a bunch of different opinions and ideas and all that. So I learned something, though. I learned something very valuable. You're 100% responsible when you're the guy, and if you don't like that, then don't take the job. Okay? And one thing you have to do, and I'm 100% this way, is if the guys are doing what I ask them to and it fails, they're totally in the clear. It's my ass. It should be that way. All the way down to our rigging, because I get specific about it. I'll look up there with my binos and go, hey, what the hell's that up there? Well, we were going to try. Nope. And the reason being is freeway crossings, strains, compressions, tensions, all these things we're talking about. You go to jail for that stuff. When you fail at that level, you go straight to jail, and nobody's going to tell me any different, because I know that's how it works. And the contractors, regardless if you're their huckleberry, everybody's going to back away from you, and you're going to be standing there going, I don't know where I come up with that great idea. I thought you were all bought in, so
Yeah.
It's just the way it happens. So we need to make sure that, first of all, that you're qualified and you have your shit together. In here, you need to know that. Don't be taking these jobs. I was just working with a couple of dudes. They'll know who I'm talking about, but I'm not trying to hurt their feelings. But it was 2017 or 18, right before we started this contract up in North Coast. So it would have been even 19. They weren't ready. They weren't ready to be running highline work crossing the Interstate 5 and all this shit. So I got sent up there to babysit them and just kind of keep an eye, and they didn't even know I was there. And the very day, they were winding up the sock line across the interstate, and I'm standing over there on one side of the interstate looking, and their guard structures are not lined up. They were lined up for the old structure that they wrecked out, but not the new. So half of that is going to spill on the freeway. So then they wind everything up, which I guess you would do. But then when you go to start, you got to drop everything down to clearance. Well, they skipped that part. And the dude that was watching clearance on the other side of the freeway is on the phone, because I got my long eyes on him, and he's not even got the radio on. And the guy kind of semi running it, he goes, okay, you ready? And so the operator goes, do you want me to go in the fly brakes, or do you want me to power it out? And he goes, no, fly brakes are good, which is not a good choice for a span going across the interstate. You want to take it nice and easy. So anyway, when it all cut loose, because it was already fiddle string, it airmailed, boom, goes down, hits the net, spills over, goes into the interstate, and I'm like, and I'm freaking out. And exactly what I had happened, what I thought was going to happen, happened. And then at that point, now I'm responsible because I'm there watching it, right? So I get on the radio, get this back up, and go, who's watching clearance, who's doing what? And there's a succession that you have to go through to make that happen. If you snatch a big rig on the interstate with hot 220 and 230 and shit all around you on each sides and all that, catastrophic. We don't have the right to put public at risk like that at all.
Yeah.
So why are guys taking jobs that they know, or it's an ego thing? And the best thing to do is whenever you can comfortably go out and run one of those jobs and it's not going to put you at suicide watch all the time. What a miserable shit show that must have been for those guys to not be ready. Put themselves in that, because they know they're coming up to me, and it's like the movie Spies Like Us. Remember that back in the day?
Oh, Chevy Chase.
Yeah, so they're going around to do the appendectomy, and they keep moving the knife all the way around. They're up by his neck, and all these guys are going, no, 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 and they keep moving around. Finally, they get back down around, and they go, yeah, and they go, oh, okay, and they're ready to do their thing. It's the same shit, dude. It's exactly that, and we don't need to put ourselves through that kind of stuff. Learn the craft. To be the boss is not really the job. You know what I mean? All you're going to do at the end of the day, if you don't know this already, is you're going to make an ass out of yourself, and people are going to clown you anyway. Okay? And you can go drive around and go, oh, I've done miles and miles and miles of this, and you're 30. That don't jive, right? You haven't had enough time to even get a million miles in. So it's about being honesty, get rid of that chest puffing shit, and move on. Don't take jobs until you're ready. And that happens a lot too, by the way.
Yeah, being humble, man. Having that humility and being vulnerable at times. Be
vulnerable, man.
Is okay. Like, it's okay. Like, there's a lot of times where I think it could help out a situation, you know. And as a leader, I think those are some of the challenges driving some of those, those behaviors, if you will, to say, hey, man, I don't know, and just have an open dialogue and conversation about what can we do to resolve it. Because like you said, the last thing we want to do in any situation, dude, is put anybody at risk, for one. And then now you're putting the public at risk.
Yeah.
Like, man, there's been so many times I can think of where I'm just like, man, we got to do something different. Like, don't know. We told you a little story before the podcast we started, right? Like, just be straight up and be like, and there's been times where I probably could have used it better too for myself.
Yeah.
And I look at those times, and hopefully we can learn something out of it, right? Just making sure that we get that message out there. But man, yeah, it's good stuff. We had a little special segment that we were going to start on. I think we're already kind of going down that road, which is kind of cool. It's called Q&D. So what we're going to do now, guys, is we're going to ask some questions and just kind of drive some more conversations surrounding this, and maybe improving our industry, and which we do a hell of a job as it is anyways. I mean, the guys are doing a great job. We'll talk about some of our successes and our strengths. And I'm going to turn the show over to producer Paul.
Yeah, man. Thanks. Appreciate it. Conversation's going good so far. My
so
camera's
far, it's
blowing
awesome.
out. I'll fix it right now.
You keeping track of all this?
Yeah, trying to, man. We got some good nuggets. Jay, you guys have some good conversation already. But let's shift, like Raul said. I got some questions. Give our guests and a host opportunity to answer them. Here we go. Start out strong. Raul, what do you think are the key strengths of the power utility industry today?
Key strengths. If I had to put it on there, I think we do a lot of things well. There's no doubt. I think we do a lot of things as far as we have a talented workforce, a skilled workforce. I think there's a lot of times out there we can do a lot of little things better. But I think Jay mentioned it a little bit too already, is our ability to build relationships. I think in the trade, I think that's why we all get in the trade, is because we enjoy that piece already. And I think once it's a critical component of laws of combat. Building good relationships in business is critical, and family it's great. But I think in our industry, those relationships are probably what we do really well, because that's the fun part of our trade. Like when we're coming up, that was like the fun part of our trade, is getting to know somebody. Maybe there's some relationships we didn't like having, but those, you'll have that with men. But and ultimately, I think we do that really well. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Jay, what you got?
I don't think we do anything well. No. I think it's what I'm excited about today, because this is one thing that I don't think it was. You couldn't approach people in our era, or even pre-you, clear back, if you were wanting to come at them and discuss something. Let's have a discussion. They look at you like, what the hell is up with this guy? Like have a deep dive, or talk about feelings, or how we got to where we're at, or what our mind's thinking, or any of that. We didn't do that shit unless we were whacked out or something, or drunk or something.
It was weird.
That would be considered weird.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I think that people are a little bit more open to that kind of stuff. I think we have a better opportunity to get in here and actually make a change that matters, because I don't think we've ever done a very good job. This is something I'm going to be hitting, because I like to stay in this radically raw truth, and it doesn't matter if it exposes me. I don't care.
Yeah.
The radical raw truth is I don't think we've ever really taken safety all that seriously, ever. I think I've never put a wheel chock down in front of a truck in my entire career till now. I thought it was stupid. I don't need that, but I needed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got a transmission.
I remember when I got handed my first Zonar wand, I snapped it and threw it in the back seat and told him to get me another one. And I told him I will never do this ever. You guys, if you guys don't trust me and then you don't need me working here. And guess what? I never did. They should have fired me right on the spot, or had that coaching thing, but I wasn't the dude that you could go talk sense to. It was like, I ain't going to do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Where do you think that came from?
I learned it.
I knew you were going to say that.
That's
how we were taught.
Tell Russell Nolan what to do. What do you think you're going to get?
That's how we were taught.
Or Mark, or any of those guys. It's like, hey, man, we don't need anybody policing us. And they kicked ass. They did a good job. But again, we worked in the gray area a lot. We had every hook on the planet taped open or taken off. And, all those, everything's quick release. And if you can work inside the realms of that, that's cool. And if you can't, you're out. We don't have that workforce anymore. And we never should have been doing it anyway. I remember one time we two-blocked a chain hoist, and they had me put my channel locks in the back of the tail and squeeze. And I go, what are you doing? He goes, I'm coming off the hoist. And I'm squeezing. I'm like, oh, my God. Well,
this is crazy.
It worked. It did work, and I think if you look at the mechanics of it, as wide as my knuckles were, there's no way in hell that's going anywhere. And he looked out there. I knew he wouldn't drop it. And he comes back up, and I'm like, holy shit. Well,
I'm pretty sure Jay's got the oldie paws that can hold.
Man, I had him, dude. Like,
and a channel locks.
Maybe Toby Claude.
Yeah.
Maybe Toby,
yeah. Toby's got big old mitts on him. But, I look back at those days. Yeah, they're cool, but we never had to do that, to be honest with you. So, and we couldn't have had those conversations that I think we could today, because you were just, what? You had to be tough at all times, and you had to be able to navigate the gray area. And I talk about that when I have a casting couch before I hire anybody. And I just told them, I go, things are going to change, because here's the deal. If one of my mentors, especially the big dogs, would have said, you guys don't have to work that way anymore. You guys, if we do everything, dot the I's and cross the T's, and meant it, because that would be the thing. They never really meant it, because I learned it from them. That's how they work. And honestly, if it was effective anymore, I probably wouldn't change too much. But it's not effective anymore. And it was never right anyway. The choice of putting outrigger pads down, I'll decide. So I got a story that I tell the guys that, I had a clip cords going around the bypasses in the turret on the smaller truck, so I could set transmission pulls with it. So all the bypasses are taken off. And then I'm driving up there, and I decide, because I'm the Journeyman Lineman, whether or not I'm going to put outrigger pads down. And I go, well, I'll put them down on the side I'm picking that big old pickle off the trailer with, but I'm not putting them on this side because it's a little muddy. So I get up there, and we snatch it off there, and one of the dudes comes up with this wonderful idea. Hey, before you let that down, swing it around to the other side, and we'll get by you real quick, because you're going to be the first one out coming back out. And I look up there, and I go, yeah, that'd work. But I don't have any outrigger pads down on the other side. So what do you think I'm going to do? Yeah, I'm going to set it down and reset up the truck? No.
Not gonna happen.
Ain't going to happen.
Takes too much time.
So I go get a long tag rope and everybody get out of the way. So I'm already looking where I'm going to jump. We did this shit all the time, you guys, and it's the truth. That's what I want to get to the raw truth of it. So we swing it over there and we skip it off the ground, and it's sinking in what was actually a natural spring. So there ain't much girth in that thing at all. And we pull it off, and that apprentice that we took drinking the night before is like going, "Oh my God, these guys are awesome." We're teaching them to be exactly like me. So then, I told him, "Hey, get out of the way." We get it back up there, get it. We got through the day, whatever. And that was a constant, to be honest with you. Those type of things, those dumb decisions. I'm the journeyman lineman, so I'll decide. I decided not to put the outrigger pads down. I also decided that I'm not going to hold the pole when it was time to hold the pole because I think I can pull it off. And I did. Okay? But that's bullshit. I'm pissed about that. I'm pissed that I got to that stage that was going on all the time. And all the dudes that work with me were kind of the same way. All right? And we didn't have a lot of accidents and stuff like that. But the bottom line is it never should have been done to begin with. You don't need to work that way. For the guy that can't pull it off, that might not be a little quick on the trigger and know when he's going to tip the truck over. I mean, I don't want everybody to know right when they're going to tip the truck over. I mean, that's kind of not good.
It's not a skill set you want.
No. We don't need to jack the cat down on the outrigger so we don't tip the crane over either. I mean, we don't need to do any of this shit that I was taught to do.
Yeah.
Literally.
Reel this back in a little bit. You're right, dude. Like, what's crazy is it's kind of monkey see, monkey do thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Man.
Like it's the same concept. Because think about this: the outrigger floating off the truck there, and you're about ready to spin on that side, and you're getting ready to jump off. I don't know if there was an apprentice on the crew. I don't know if there was.
He was down. Yeah. He was hanging on the tag rope.
Just saying.
He's looking at us going, yeah.
Yeah. So
they're going to do it.
He tops out.
Yeah, he's going to try it.
He says, I've seen this really cool thing that Jay Clark did.
Yeah.
The Jay Clark.
Yeah.
I think it'll work.
Yeah.
So it's like we're creating culture. And back then you didn't know. Yeah. Like
I was doing what I was taught.
I was taught either. So you're building this culture up and you don't even realize it. But that apprentice is he's going to teach his
and
apprentice.
He might not pull it off.
And
then
they're
going to go, well, this is what my training was all about.
And then guess what? When that all happens, another rule's made.
Yeah. That shit never should have gone on.
It never should have happened from the beginning.
Never should have happened from the beginning.
From just the basics.
From day one, when you start the apprenticeship, you should be putting outrigger pads in the middle of the yard. Who gives a fuck where it's at?
Yeah.
You should put them down everywhere. Yeah. Because if you don't, then you're not going to do it. If you leave that area of all decide thing in there, then you're going to decide not to.
I like what you said. It's like you said, operating in the gray. Yeah. Making your own rules as you kind of go. You're living in this space. But you're right. If you want to build good habits, and outrigger pads is simple, right? That's a simple one to discuss.
It's kind of hard. Yeah, I don't want to. There's a lot.
There's a lot.
Hey, we got the outrigger pad down. Wheel chocks, outrigger pads, caution tape.
Automatic.
It's building the automatic in your
automatic.
It's being automatic and building those habits. And then next thing you know, your apprentice is teaching his apprentice teaching, and so on and so on. We build a culture, and that's not just outrigger pads.
No,
it's everything. It's rigging. It's it's everything. It's everything we're doing. No, I don't think he answered the question, but I like the answer.
No, he did. I'm gonna go off of it too.
Okay.
I like it.
All right. So Raul, you talked about strength being relationships, and Jay, I took away. You said a little bit about discussions, that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So maybe we can identify or not identify that the industry is moving, it's changing somehow. The demand, the scope of work, the conversations are kind of changing. Can Raul's relationships and Jay discussions be used to move our industry forward?
I would say, yeah. I mean, if you take where the industry's going, because there's going to be challenges, the demand from our utilities is getting more and more. Let's face it; they want more and more out of us, and that's okay because it's we're gonna do what we need to do with our customers. But think about it: if we all have a good relationship, and we can work together and be cross-functional, if you will, in multiple departments. Yeah, I mean, think about it. You're not alone. You have multiple resources, whether you're a vendor, whether you're a supplier, whether you're a customer, whether you're the union IBW, our local 47, local 1245, our sister locals, right? Like if you have a good relationship and all those the JTC staff, all of our apprenticeship programs, think of the door that opens up when you don't know something. Think about that. Like you have a good relationship with these folks, you just make a phone call. And that's my opinion. That's how important relationships are. That's what I think.
Jay, is having better discussions with your crew, your leadership, your mentorship, is this being better discussions that are going to help us as industry?
I think it's pretty much paramount. Okay, so you're going out there to do a job, and a lot of people don't know, the whole scope of what's going on, the little nuances, the thing that's going to make it and break it. You don't bring it up, it's not going to succeed. You have to give, like I'll bring up cut marks and all that stuff, double check. I've had a couple puffed up linemen here not too long ago would roll their eyes every night when I tell them to double check your cut marks. And we're using that ACCC, and there's no dead ends in between. It's dead end to dead end. And those guys cut the shit 18 inches too long or too short. And I'm like going, how'd that happen? And it's because they didn't double check their stuff. Thank God I'm good friends with some people at Edison.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think that if you don't have those conversations and you be willing to bring it up again, to bring up the obvious, because the obvious is what screws you. Don't put the inner without the outer. Don't be pressing all this stuff. I mean, these things happen, and they happen again and again and again and again. And then you'll never think it's going to be you until it's you. So we owe it to each other to do that. And then that's where the humble part, where everybody can go right on and accept that, because if it's being done the right way, it doesn't work if you're doing it in a demeaning or clowning manner. It's not going to, like you dumbasses, make sure you don't do that. That's not going to cut it. But we need to be able to have that conversation, because honestly, the skill set's not the same as what it was 25, 30 years ago. It's just not. The whole generation has changed. We're going to have to meet it right where it's at, and you can't run from it unless you just want to give up. I'm getting old enough, though, I might be able to toss in the towel. But
I'll quit that. Not yet, Jay. Not yet.
Boom, there we go. All right.
Boom.
I'm going to shift topics here. Mentorship. Probably another word that's kind of newer in our scope of work. Would you agree? Not disagree?
Yeah, mentor. Being a mentor. I think so. Yeah.
Is it new?
I would say
common?
It's newer.
Newer. Okay.
I would say it's a newer. I mean, we weren't talking about mentors coming up.
Yeah, and then Jay, you
we were talking about lead lineman, journeyman lineman. You're a lineman.
Yeah,
I mean, we didn't really talk about mentors now.
Yeah, but Jay, now you're reflecting as guys as you thought as mentors, but you didn't see them as that in that moment, right? Back in that day.
No, they were my leaders. They're guys I respected and looked up to.
Yeah.
Hell, I'd have jumped off a cliff for them.
Sure.
But the bottom line is that they didn't look at themselves as mentors, and they should have.
Yeah. Because
they could have changed everything. With a lot of us, they could have. They didn't know, and they didn't want to be vulnerable and all those things that I'm talking about right now.
Yep.
Because then, hey, the boss is going to even talk about wheel chocks. Has he lost his mind? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's not a big deal. Safety should be looked upon as a good thing, not looked upon as, you're going to get clowned for having all the stuff out and making yourself look right. Should be paramount. We should be doing it no matter what.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's stay right there. Raul, how has mentorship played a role in your career, both as a mentor and as a mentee?
It's played a pivotal role. I mean, it's huge. I've had some good people that have mentored me along the way. I worked around a lot of good linemen, stepping into the leadership roles. And I can name a bunch of guys that, like Jay said, I didn't really view them as mentors, but I do now as I reflect back. I looked at him as somebody I could rely on. It made me a better person for sure. I mean, here recently, taking the leadership role to run this company was huge. I still don't know everything. I still don't know the first thing on set at times, but I know who to call. I call those mentors that I can lean on, and I am very vulnerable at times with them, right? I don't understand this. And I think once you learn that, once it's easier to do that and you check your ego a little bit, I think it makes it easier to move towards the challenging situations. So yeah, I think that's my thing is like, you got to capitalize those moments with your mentors. If you've identified them, if you're smart enough to say, hey, this is a guy I could be a mentor, or he could be my mentor. But there's a whole another conversation surrounding that, being a mentor. But yeah, I think it's actually turned me into a better person, I think.
Mr. Clark, what you got, sir?
I still call people all the time.
Yeah.
I'm past all that. Thank God. Thank you, Jesus, that I'm not that idiot that wouldn't call anybody. Or you don't have to know everything. Why do you put that pressure on yourself? There's certain things I don't know about. Jake and some of my my GFs, I'll hit them up about underground stuff when we start tooling everything up. Hey, you guys kind of help me out on this. I'm not the underground dude, you know?
Yeah.
I'm learning, actually. There's nothing wrong with it. In fact, you're foolish not to use all those different types of people that can be out there. It's worth it to make the decision that you're gonna make the effort to at least contact them and let them know it. You're gonna ask them questions if they'll be willing to do it. You'll find almost everybody's gonna just spill it out there to you. They dig it.
Mm-hmm.
So why wouldn't you use that? You don't have to be the dude that did everything. You just have to know the people that have.
That's true.
It's kind of cool.
Somebody told me one time, you don't have to, what do you have to be successful? You just got to hire people or be around people smarter than you.
Yeah.
That's true. Like,
true.
it's very true, man. Like, and I've actually done that here, you know, always looking for people. There's so much talent out there, even in our own industry. There's so much talent that you can tap into. So much.
All right, next question. What advice would you give to someone looking to become a mentor in this field? You know, maybe mentor is not right. I know Jocko talks about a lot. People kind of shy away from that word mentor, but I think assuming that role is pretty neat. Raul, what you got?
It's neat, but it's definitely a responsibility. Like,
Yep.
I remember that podcast there with Jocko, and it's you know, it's stressful on people, right? Like, I don't want to be your mentor, like, because I don't know everything, right? But I think you got to take the responsibility on if when it comes to the industry, obviously family's different when you talk about family, but when you talk about the industry, like, if not you, then who?
Yeah.
Right? Like, who's going to do it? Like, who's going to take that on a responsibility? And I think for one, you gotta listen. That's a critical. If you want to be a mentor, if you want to take on that responsibility, definitely got to listen before you speak. You don't know everything. Don't, you know, if you're somebody's mentor and somebody's relying on you, don't just speak because you think you have to. Like, it's okay to say, man, I'll get back to you on that. I don't really know, but I want to make sure I don't lead you down the wrong path. So yeah, it could be stressful, but I think we're obligated to. And if you want those positions, you should take them. Because if not, who then?
Yeah.
Then who? If not you, then who?
Jay, let me
Yeah.
throw another layer onto this.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not comfortable being a mentor and giving the advice, but maybe you can say, hey, yeah, I'll help you out. You can call me anytime, but I'm not going to tell you what to do. I can tell you what not to do.
Oh, like being vulnerable?
Being a robot. Hey,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I had to set the pole without the outrigger down or
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the Outriggers were down there just in the mud.
In the
or the
mud.
mother. You go.
See how the story changes? No.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, the deal with that would be, honestly, I don't have a problem with the mentor thing, so that doesn't really fit. I wouldn't even know. I don't have a problem. Here's what I will do, though. I'll say I don't know, but I know the dude that does,
Yep.
and I'll call him. And I get a lot of different phone calls like that, and you know, even setting up wire sites and shit. Normally, the wire superintendent would do all that. I had a couple operators that had done it more than me. They've been doing it. Their family owned a company back in the day, a non-union one, and they went all over the country doing that. So when we would set up wire sites and stuff like that, they're looking at it from a perspective of a guy that's all they do, right? I'd look at the whole job. So whenever they would come up with some cool stuff, I go, yeah, you know what, that works. And I was able to be successful because I wasn't that dude that goes, no, we got to do it my way because I know more. And they would already know that you're full of shit anyway, right? Because they would know, well, what's he looking at? When they said something that made sense, man, go with it. So there's nothing wrong. I don't know if that was answering the question. I kind of went off on a tangent, but
No, it's perfect. I think, but you do it naturally, Jay. I'll tell you, like, you're okay with discussing. I don't want to say failures because I think with their failure, there's lessons to be learned, right? Like,
yeah.
But you have a good way of discussing your vulnerabilities in the sense that, yeah, this is where I screwed up. Let me tell you, and have no problem with them being open. I think in being a mentor, you have to do that. You have to be able to let the guy that you're talking to, and I've done it before and said, man, you know what? I really screwed this up the last time. And maybe this is an opportunity for me to learn too as well. I think that's when maybe another point of it that you could bring up, Paul. But it's being okay to show that you're not perfect. And I'm not saying that you do that well, that you're not perfect, but in the sense that you're okay to discuss failures at times. And I think guys learn from that.
If you look back 20 years ago when they had the ATF and SWAT at my house, dude, You know, what do you?
That's another podcast.
That's another podcast.
Yeah, we gotta go to a break there, guys.
Yeah. No. So whenever you have have failures or whatever you want to look at it, you just I like to laugh at myself a little bit. It ain't no big deal.
It ain't no big deal.
It ain't no big deal. If you don't know it, it ain't no big deal. And if you do know it, then share it. And it's there's a point in your career where you're going to hit that. I really don't give a shit what anybody thinks. I just want to be authentic. I know or I don't know.
Yeah.
And if I can help you, and I find that to be a real problem. When we were racing on the dead end boards and stuff, I went to this Rubens and Sons deal where they
it's a rigging, right?
It's a rigging place, and they work for the film industry, so they got all sorts of just trick, badass stuff. So I got these little flat swivel things that I was able to mount to my press motor that kept my press from being hanging way low. So I had it right there, and I had a rotisserie going, and that got us a 1.5 or 2 minute jump on these guys, right? Now I had 6 of them, and I had 3 press motors, so I could have given those guys one too, but I didn't because I wanted to spank them even more than what we were spanking them anyway. And the whole thing about this is in all honesty, if I would have made it fair and give them guys some, and they beat me with my own rigging, who cares?
Yeah.
But I just wouldn't do that. It was all about I want to put the smash on you, grind you in like dust a little bit, and make sure that you're not even going to get up for air. That's bullshit. I wish I would have done it differently, right? And there's a lot of little tricks like that if you'll show some people and give it up. What are you holding on to it for?
Dude, we're old.
So cool. So,
That Cody Gandy, remember he gave us that,
oh yeah, I was just thinking that.
same silo kind of exercise.
Yeah. So you identified your tendency, right then, and we did this thing with Cody Gandy. He came out and did a leadership workshop with our guys. It was. I thought it was going to be corny, to be honest with you. I was like, this is not going to work with a bunch of linemen, you know. And let's get around, let's huddle, let's do this little workshop exercise. But Cody Gandy, man, shout out to him. He threw it down, dude. Yeah. So we're building homemade stretchers.
Duct tape.
Out of duct tape.
Right on.
And so he pulls us all leaders into the side, right? It's a little workshop. He picked a few leaders, and he's giving us a tailboard, what we're going to build. And we have to take this information back to the guys, right? I can see on the table all these duct tapes, right? There's a small roll, there's a thick roll, massive roll, right? And we were able to pick one duct tape. So as he's giving him the tailboard, I'm not even looking. I'm thinking the same mindset you have. I'm going to smash these guys. Yeah. I'm going to go back to my crew, and I'm going to grab the biggest duct tape I have because I want the most amount. That's what's going to win this thing. I already know it. I already can see what's going on here. So break. I grab the largest roll of duct tape I can, go to my crew, and we're smashing it out. We're doing it. Okay, guys, this is the thing. You're gonna be QC. You're gonna do this part. I'm gonna do this. You know, give them a tailboard. The whole concept was exactly that. It was identifying as from a leadership perspective, the tendency for me is I'm gonna win.
Yeah.
At all costs. I don't care. I don't care if my other team fails. I don't care. Obviously the whole point of it was we should have all got together. One of the rules was not a rule that we could have all used each other's duct tape and we could have made it everybody win. Yeah. God, it was brilliant because even then I don't even know if ours worked.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think and then Cody you lay in it and you have to pick them up and you have to take them across the room. And if it ripped, you failed. And so the whole point of it was identifying your tendency as leaders, which is a great workshop. Yeah. Hats off to Extreme Echelon Front and with the Academy and those boys over there.
And this was last year role. This is last year role as implementing extreme ownership and learning. So that was pretty cool.
It was pretty cool, but no, it's a good way of looking at it, man. Awesome.
All right,
Didn't
cool.
mean to take your show off there.
No, that's good. I thought right about it. All right. We'll stay in that same kind of topic conversation is how can we learn from each other as contractors? Jay Clark, what you got?
Ooh, he loves this one. This is a great one for him to start at.
Well, for instance, like I told you guys, when you guys first started this thing, I was kind of clowning you a little bit. I'm like going, what is all this? I got a whole different perspective right now. I've been watching. I pay attention. I called you when we started our contract. Yeah. It was asking you. That's a little bit of vulnerability I was willing to give right then. It's like, hey, dude, this is. And I remember that you told me that you guys had that struggle there at first too when you were kicking ass, and all of a sudden, boom, you get ground pounded.
Yeah,
we just had that happen with 2 fatalities, which I don't even know how you really navigate that thing. You know what I mean?
Just comes out of nowhere, man.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah,
And
it sucks.
you know, one being the kid's pulled way off the side of the road and gets hit by a drunk driver. Or we don't know for sure if that's the case. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, but distracted anyway. And you know, you I don't know how I got off on that tangent, but that sucks. But you sit there and you kind of try to navigate through this thing. I'm paying attention to what everybody else is doing, and some of it I don't think is working very good for them. Here's the deal: if you keep putting lipstick on the pig, you just got a pig. We have to completely change it. I don't think, like I was telling you guys earlier, I don't think we've really taken safety all that seriously.
Yeah.
Why were there? Why, if that be the case, and why were we having the dream team groups, and then your normal steady eddies over here? And I mean, everybody's got their niche, but you notice the dream teams; those guys never put down their safety shit and all that. They're too good for it all, right? I don't think that we should have ever had that. I think everybody should have. If it was really wanting to change the culture, it should be that's first. Public first, our safety second, you know, customer getting their job done the way they want it done without modifying anchors and different shit that we've done over the years. This industry has really kind of screwed itself a little bit. But I'm paying attention to what you guys are doing. This Navy SEAL stuff, I met a dude, his name is Denver Rourke. And he's a highly decorated officer, and he gave a speech up in Portland. Wilson had there in 2019. Had a big party up there in their yearly meeting, and we went up there. Anyway, he was talking about how you can stretch yourself further and all that kind of stuff, and it was okay. I got him outside in the foyer there, and I was like going, "Hey, dude, now let's get the real deal." I mean, that was cool. That's your sales pitch, but what can a dude, we're the special forces of the construction industry, hands down. What can we do to hit this elevated level of badassness that you guys got going on? And he goes, well, first of all, your guys can quit. All of ours, they done quit a long time ago. We got all the guys that are going to stay. He goes, that's one thing you got to overcome is the quitting part. The second thing of it is you as the leader, he goes, I'm the first one out, last one in. And he goes, and I never, ever worry about my own safety because this dude over here and this dude and the snipers and everybody else, they got my back. And it's not because I'm the boss. That's what we all do. And we've never allowed anybody on our team to be weak because where they had weaknesses, we brought them right along with us. And we picked out those things that some people are better at. And that's kind of where we built our team around that. I listened to that. And if we could get past the drag up mode, you know, and the feelings and all that kind of stuff that people are going through. If we could really build that and honestly make yourself vulnerable enough to say, hey, I suck at this. I need a little help. The dude that's really good at it comes in and teaches you. Now, if you're willing to do that and get the chip off your shoulder or be the teacher, however you want to look at it, because we all got those things. Hell, I got some stuff I could take you guys up on and you guys wouldn't have a fucking clue what I'm even talking about. And the same thing would be if I went on your guys' realm. I would have no clue. And you guys could either take advantage of that or embrace it and try to help me out, right? So those are the things that I'm talking about. We really get over that stupid hump and really try to build something special, you can do it. But it's going to require that leaders be vulnerable first, and then I think it will go right on down the line.
Raul, follow up that bomb right there, baby.
Just leave it as it is, bro. Let that thing just marinate right there. No, I think the question is, what can we do better as contractors?
No, how can we learn from each other as contractors? Sorry.
How can we learn together as contractors? I think, well, we're going to do it today. We're going to go to a Red Book safety meeting, right? I think collabing more as on the safety, you know, have those open conversations on the safety and even training. You know, like Jay said, he called me and we said, this is what we're doing at Sturgeon. And is it right? I don't know. Is it working? I think so. You know, I think it is working. Can we get better? Sure. But what are you guys doing? Right? Like, I think collabing that more and having those open conversations on what's working. I think the worst thing that could ever happen in our trade is to hear, oh yeah, that happened over at our company. And you didn't know about it or you didn't hear about it. Well, what did you guys do different? Right? Like, I think if we had a closer group, and I think it starts with these meetings that we're going to, Western Line does a great job. IBEW Local 47 does a great job. Our JTCs do a great job. I think it's exactly that. And the meetings are getting better. Before it would go around and talk about, incidents and injuries and what's going on in the trade, it was quiet. Nope, nothing. Surgeon got nothing. So-and-so's got nothing. We got nothing. And just kind of went around the room, and nobody really wanted to share anything and be vulnerable, to Jay's point, about what we did wrong or what happened. Here recently, I can see the culture shifting, and I think that's why it's huge to have this podcast and build the momentum of those conversations. These meetings were 1-2 hours. Now they're 3, 4, 5 hours long because of the information that's being transferred amongst each other as leaders. So I think if we continue on that trajectory, I think we get better. Yeah, as contractors.
How does that work though? Because I mean, how do you guys allow yourself? At the end of the day, you guys are running two separate companies, and you could be competing for vice versa, territory, district, however you want to word it. I'm gonna stay out of that. I don't know how that stuff works, but you guys have allowed yourself to have open door communication and share insight. How did you guys allow yourself to do that when you have that?
I'm gonna let Jay Jay said this up there in Malibu, and he was 100% right when he said it. And it's about competition. And what did you say about competition when it comes to safety? What did you say, Jay?
If I recall, because I was running my mouth.
We can be competitors.
We can be competitors, but we're all IBEW members. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
I would drive by and I'd see
Tim
Raleigh or
Tom Raleigh.
Tom Raleigh.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen him for years. So
it was good seeing him.
That guy's laughing my ass off.
I haven't seen him
and Eddie and some of the dudes and Gabe and just all the dudes I used to work with. I mean, I lived in Norco for 17 years, so more of this area out here was kind of my stomping grounds. But now I'm North Coast or whatever. But long story short, dude, I think that it's really not that far of a stretch to be able to work for somebody else and be a competitor and still, like, I think it's cool to, just like what I was saying earlier, I had all those swivels, those kick-ass swivels that nobody else could have got, Jack Rubens and Son stuff. Loan it to my competitor. Who gives a shit? At the end of the day, what's the big deal? We did that. We loaned it out mandrel grounds. We loaned it out grounding mats. We loaned it out our puller. Because that's one thing we said. Hey, if we're jammed up there in those canyons, I got a puller sitting up there and we're done.
Yeah, jump in here.
Take ours. Who gives a shit? It's not even a big deal. Just that thing right there changed the whole dynamics of everything. Completely changed it. Everybody was like, yeah, right on. And this individual weird little veil that was between everybody, like, hey, what shirt you got on? It was gone.
It was gone, bro.
It was gone.
It was amazing.
And we all worked together, and for the first time, it's like this breath blew into the whole area. It's like, yeah, we didn't need this shit to begin with. Then Edison's going, I've never seen anything like this. This is crazy. You guys
It was awesome.
It was awesome.
It was awesome.
And to be honest with you, I don't think that we ever need to do it differently. I think because there will be another catastrophe. This is Southern California. This is how it goes. I think we need to have each other's back like that. Because at the end of the day, if I go to a brother's funeral, it's not going to matter what shirt he's got on, dude. You understand that? It's not going to matter at all. I got lots of history with a lot of people, whether I like them or don't like them. I'd still give them the shirt off my back because we're brothers in this industry. That's the way it works. And if you don't have that in you, then you're getting ripped off. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, we can be competitors, and I don't like everybody, dude. I'm not even that guy. But it doesn't even matter because I can glean something smart that you do, and I can put it in my ditty bag just like I've been doing all these years. And I'm going to go, that characteristic that dude's got right there is the shit. And then, because in a way, we're kind of living inside of a play. We don't know how to do everything, right? I heard this lady say this shit not too long ago, and I just stole it from her. You have to create who you actually want to be. Because if it's not inherently natural, like I got genetic things that make me a certain way, but I don't know shit about life, really, totally. Yeah. I'm learning, and I'm 59 years old and kind of running out of time. So what I'm getting at is if you want to instill something in your life, start becoming that person. Look outside the box. I really like what I see in this guy. There's shit I really like about you, Raul, that I look at. A couple things I don't, but we'll talk about that. but
I knew that was coming.
But you guys got to understand that's kind of if it's done any other way. I don't know how it's done. I don't know how you learn to become somebody different. But I think that if you got a whole bunch of people doing it at the same time, I think it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
It was on that fire. I don't think anybody was resisting after a while. After the first little bit when they're like going, who's this asshole talking shit or whatever? You know what I mean? I think that everybody
think
let their
there was
guard
a-
down, and
I think there was a unique way of what you did it though. Like we didn't even talk about it, but it started with passing the hat,
yeah, man.
right?
That
Was a big deal, and it's crazy when you kind of you unify on a certain topic. You know, like take the safety out of it in our line work just for a minute.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about being people,
Yeah,
right?
man.
Just we're people first. And at the end of the day, when we were talking about passing the hat for a family, it changes.
Yeah, man.
And seeing what had happened to those families out there, and for us to unite together and pass the hat, and that seeing those dollar figures rise and rise and rise and rise.
Got
and
over
rise.
60 grand.
Man, and that was. But think about it. Like now we're talking about something that's not even what we're supposed to be doing, right?
Yeah.
Like we're people now. We're
Yeah.
people. So I think unifying on things like that makes a culture stronger.
Yeah.
Because I saw it.
Yeah.
We were friends and talking, and people were opening up based off of supporting other people.
Hell, there was people
crazy.
crying. There was people that teared up over it.
Oh yeah.
You know, that were out
Yeah.
there when we were having our meetings and stuff. And I'm like going, if you guys would have seen what I seen, because I got first I tried to give all the money to the hall, and then they're like going, we can't really, it gets weird, sticky with money and
It's
all
really
that stuff.
cash is weird. Yeah.
So I took it and we went and broke it off. I took dudes with me, and we found through these pastors that I know, one in Pasadena and one up by where I live. They were all keeping in contact. Hey, this girl's living in her car and she's just destitute. Yeah. Bam, we drove down there, broke her off a hunk, and she's like looking at us like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And I go back and I'd report to the dudes. I go, you guys are not only first responders and a bunch of badasses, but you're benevolent.
Yeah.
When you can do stuff like that, and you know that a few $100 out of your pocket when we're on 7/16s is not going to affect you one little bit. And then next time I throw it out there, boom. And these guys are getting it. And they got to understand something, that they will never forget that $500 or something that they threw in there over that month's time. They'll never forget it's not the money thing. That don't mean shit to them now at this point. I guarantee you that there's got to be some sort of in here that it affected them. And that with the hat thing, I've been doing that for a long time with people. And you give it to them whether you know them or not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be somebody I know. As a matter of fact, what we do in secret is what we get rewarded for. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's the good. That's the good shit.
Yeah.
So I was
impressed.
I was impressed with the guys.
I was impressed with the guys on that, and then it even grew even more to where, to your point, the contractors starting matching it.
Yeah.
You know, so now the contractors are matching. So now we're a part of the community as contractors.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just IBW in the hands. Now the contractors are like
Edison people were throwing in cash.
So now we're all kind of uniting in one focus, right? Which I think really, man, like if you look at the success of that whole project, it's all of that.
All of it.
It's the communication. It's breaking down the silos.
Yeah.
It's uniting on one a cause, if you will.
Yeah.
And understanding that, like you said, we're first responders, but we're also helping other people.
Yeah, dude.
It's crazy how that works out.
Yeah.
Now, how can we take that mindset and apply it to what we do every day? Like we are doing that every day. Your shop is the same as my shop. Yeah. We all have families. We're all there for a reason. We're all there for, for a cause. We're doing things, not just because we're linemen building power lines and making money. That's not everything.
Yeah.
A lot of it, but not all of it. So I just want to give a shout out to Jenny Lavin and what she helped out the contractors with Union Care Solutions. She's opening up the door to so many more, pass the hat opportunities, getting contractors involved so that we can unite as contractors and industry towards a certain cause.
Good stuff.
Shout out to Jenny. Thank you for your help with that, Jenny.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome job, dude.
Yeah, you too.
Appreciate it.
All you guys, man.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Good stuff. I want to stay right there real quick. I ask another question. Raul, Jay, you guys, the buck stops with you in respect to your contractors, your companies that you guys both run. But Raul and Jay, how did you know that tendency, let's see, how do I say this? Ultimately, you guys are responsible for the success and failures of your companies. How does reaching out to Jay and Jay reaching out to you become a part of the equation as a leader? Because I would think if I was in your shoes, which I'm not, obviously, I'd say, I want to win. I want my company to win. At the end of the day, I'm going to be held accountable for how good my company does. When do you realize it's going to be like, hey, I need to collaborate with Jay to make this a success? I don't know if that makes sense, Raul.
Yeah, it does make sense. Like when do you realize we're at that point? I think the ego starts talking to you. Like just my tactic. I can hear that voice talking to me, where it's like, Raul, you don't know this.
Yeah.
And I think accepting that voice and saying, well, let me look into it. You do your own research or you do whatever you can, and in all aspects of life, right? Even in golf, like how many YouTube videos have you watched, right? Like you don't know it all, but what I'm saying is like you reach out to those things when you don't know, and I think it's very hard for a man. It's very hard for a lineman. It's very hard for all of us in the trade, and even some females to check the ego once in a while. Just say, hey, I don't know. Let's have a conversation. And it's crazy the success you get out of that within yourself. Because like you said, Jay, it's stressful. That stress is terrible when you're putting yourself in positions, whether it's a job site, whether it's in front of your customer or a presentation, and you don't know. You could stress on it for a long time, man, to the point to where maybe the outcome is not even, you stress on it for so long and the outcome's not even what you anticipated. Man, I screwed that up. So for me, it's just that little voice, I guess. I don't know.
Jay, what do you think too? Like, maybe some of those getting those swivels to yourself and not letting out there have been a path to your success because you were efficient, because those skills that you did within your crew allowed you to kind of promote, but now you have to kind of bounce things off Raul or with another competitor. How does that play out?
Well, let's say, first of all, I'm confident, and I've had that for a while because I put the bolt in the hole. Or I've done it. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to take that away from me. But one thing I will say, and this is just the truth, you're a complete puss if you're not going to let your guard down and be vulnerable, because then you don't really win. Yeah. You want to really win, buddy? Let your guard down. This is really who you got right here. This is really me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and all that weakness and all that other little shit that I got going on, now that's really me. Now if you win, now you really won. Other than that, you're full of shit. There's no other way to put it. You're not really being your authentic self if you're not going to allow yourself to be vulnerable. And nothing's worse than a dude that will jump on the bandwagon when the other guy's down and not really up to snuff anyway. Because like I said, I'm good at certain things that some people wouldn't even know what I'm talking about. And then whenever I went to the other side, I don't have a clue. So how are we going to navigate that? You know what I mean? So just be willing. And that's a lifetime achievement for me, dude, because I'm still not there. Behind all this, I'm still trying to snatch some of your guys' hands.
We'll delete that part, Raul. All right, cool. Great conversation. Raul, you digging this?
He's been successful.
Yeah. Raul, you like this so far? You having fun?
Yeah, of course.
All right, cool.
This is awesome.
I kind of want to shift the conversation to a crew level. It's going to refer to saying something when you see something that's considered an at-risk behavior, when that person's your buddy, your drinking buddy, your hangout buddy. Maybe you guys go to the river together with families, and you got to call them out on at-risk behavior. Raul, what you got?
Yeah, I think this is probably the flip side of having a good relationship with somebody, right? It's the other side of it that could go both ways. Like I know this guy really well, and he knows what he's doing, or whatever the case may be. And that's the challenging part, is the fear of the person that you see something. It could be anything. It could be something small. It could be a freaking seatbelt on the way it could be on the way to the job site not wearing a seatbelt. Let's just say small item, but you look over at him and you put your seatbelt on because of the camera that's now in your truck. It's gonna flag you, right? But whatever. Yeah. But you don't say anything, and because you don't want to feel like that guy. You want to feel like you're the one that that's improving something, or you say something, so you kind of fear that conversation. And a lot of it is, like I've already kind of mentioned, and this seems like it's a lot about ego, but I think it is. I think it's a lot about ego, and for me, it's checking it, but it's also understanding that if something were to happen, how would you feel then? Right? Like, how would you feel then? Like if you knew this guy, and like you said, Jay, like we're passing the hat for sometimes guys that we don't know. Right, but we do it anyways because that's what kind of in our culture, right? But think about it: if you did know the person or you did know the family, now it makes it even harder. So for me, it's having the courage to speak up, but also understand that he may be happy too, accepting the fact that he's probably going to be upset too. It could be, depending on how he reacts. But I think if you pull on that thread, why, and the intent of the conversation you're having, I think everybody has the decency within themselves to say, you're right, man. this ain't worth it. This move I'm doing or this thing, if something were to happen, you're right. Because I think if we can get to that space, that culture, I think that's where it's going to improve us all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jay, what you got, sir?
Well, my delivery sucks whenever we're having those conversations because normally I go right to the. If it's one of those deals where it's really stupid rigging, I've just dealt with that. I told you guys when we started here. It's rigging that I know better, and then as the story's unfolding, it's getting worse. And I really like a couple of these dudes that pulled this stunt here recently. I have to work on my delivery because I can tell you right now they were totally defensive because I'm right on the verge of just chewing their ass and not having a conversation. There's a difference. Yeah. Because here's the deal. Like tomorrow, I'm going to go speak at a memorial for the fallen people that Edison's had on their property. Now, how the hell did I become the spokesperson for fatalities? You know? I don't like that shit. I don't like it for lots of reasons, but I have to take ownership. I am the superintendent of that company. Those guys were working underneath me. Even though I did not have anything physically to do with any of that shit, it doesn't matter. So what am I going to do with this now? And the only thing I can think that I can really do to make it better is to make it better. Those things that we are lacking in, I'm going to change. And my delivery is going to have to change because my delivery sucks. It always has. I'm very passionate, almost extreme sometimes. And I give good ass chewings too because I remember
some getting them.
And getting them. And I don't think that people respond that well to that nowadays. They don't. They freak out. They sit there like fainted goat, and I don't think I got anywhere with them. It's like, I hate that big bald-headed bastard right there. You know, they probably do. And I really have to work on that delivery. I wasn't raised that way. I respond really good to getting my ass chewed. Makes me not want to do it again. And I pay attention, but you know, some people don't. So you're gonna have to learn how your delivery is going to be if you want to have those deep conversations. You're gonna have to stay calm and talk it out like for real. And then if they don't listen, then you have to make your own decisions from there. You know,
that's a great point. I never even thought about the delivery aspect, like a true like tactical method.
Well, I'm horrible at it.
No, but I'm saying like you have to understand what you want to do, but you also have to maybe practice a little bit on your delivery too.
Yeah. 100%.
Right. Yeah,
100%.
And it's a different workforce too. Yeah. It's not back in the day. Because you're right. Like I got some ass chewing. It corrected what I was doing in a minute.
Yeah.
Even when I was a kid, young lad, you know, like it shit works.
And Jocko refers to it as a leadership capital.
Yeah.
You know, the delivery.
There you go. Yeah.
Cool. Right on. Raul, how do we continue to grow and equip a workforce, train apprentices, all the while we're trying to meet the demands of the customer and meet the society's demands for power?
You've got to understand that things are going to take a little longer time, right? Time is going to definitely play into it. You know, if we're kind of rushing all the time the projects and not giving the young apprentice or young journeyman or young foreman like Jay said, you know, sometimes you got to do those jobs. I mean, the industry is getting tougher. The system is getting more complex, you got to be more technically sound in what you're doing. It's not just build. You understand the why we're building things. That's what I think. Resources, tons of resources, right? There's tons of things out there that possibly could assist you in those things. But if you're constantly rushing projects or rushing things and not really truly, like what Jay said, like you're understanding your craft. The craft is changing. It's not just building anymore. You have to understand the why. You have to understand the purpose of it.
Yeah.
So, Jay, what you got?
Along those lines, we got I'm going to give you a couple for instances that I see. I'll see 3 journeymen standing on the ground watching an apprentice struggle.
Yeah.
I've watched him. He rigged his hand line a little bit, and he sucked the triplex up still below the phone and then puts his hoist on. And I'm like, oh, my God, dude. You know, we all know what's going to happen there. And they got 3 journeymen standing there watching him do that. Why isn't one of your asses up that pole mentoring this kid a little bit? I mean, because at some point you were not the big swinging MFJL. Don't wear those hats, by the way, but I don't think any of us really deserve that one, but whatever. Some of the people that wear them definitely don't. And I don't get it. Because that dude, when he sucks, that's you. That's the way it always used to work. Those guys knew when he came off of one of our crews. That dude was all over his shit, had everything, knew where everything was. Hell, I remember Mickey Walsh yelling at me, "Where's that red shackle? We only used it twice a year, but I better know where the hell it's at." And it had a specific use for some bank that we were going to set, and we had some hokey rigging, and it was his favorite little deal. "Where's the red shackle? You know the red shackle." I go, "Dude, I haven't seen that red shackle for 8 months."
Bottom of the bin.
I found it because I needed to know where it was, because something in my brain told me that dude's going to ask for that shit, and I'm not going to know where it's at. And that's the way that it used to be. And no, that foreman didn't allow you to suck, because it was his ass. I mean, he needed you to be able to be prosperous so he could prosper, so we get the job done. We only ran 4-man crews. We hot sticked everything, and it's a whole different deal than what it is now. There was never a chance for an apprentice just to be standing there failing and somebody not going, "Go fix that." These dudes, I mean, the linemen need to start caring about that, because that's a direct reflection upon them, whether they want to look at it or not. Who did you work with last? I sure as hell wouldn't want my name being that if the guy was completely, sucked. And this one kid that I'm talking about, he was 5th step. He had no go-to rigging. And go-to rigging is the thing you get as a 1st step apprentice, man. It's like, I'm going to go up there and I only need to know 3 or 4 knots. Never tie a bowline in both ends, or you might as well go suck on a 12 gauge. You're screwed for the rest of your life. If you're the bowline in both ends, guys, we need to get rid of you. But always have a way to get out of your rigging, and just certain rigging. For me, if I'm going to go drop something out, it's 3 wraps around the pole, just clip in all of them with the square. You're good to go. Always, in secondary, whatever. I had that same kid go up there, and because the rope sling was longer than what he was used to, he was all caught up in the rope. I mean, it took 15 minutes to get it rigged to where he could even do it. And then he had his hoist so close to him that it was a flying V. He couldn't get it unpinned. And that's a 5th step. And I'm like going, dude, you got to have that go-to rigging. And the thing about it is linemen straight, all 3 of them, "You're embarrassing us. You're embarrassing us." Instead of, "Hey, that's a direct reflection upon you guys aren't training this kid at all."
Yeah. Very good.
That's bullshit, by the way. I don't like that.
I don't know, to add to that a little bit more, we, like I said, the circuits are getting, a little more technology. I can think about embracing innovation, comes to mind. And if we're not learning and accepting it and being proactive, and we're constantly like bucking the system, I mean, last time I checked, we're all wearing FR now. Mm-hmm. We're all wearing buck squeezes. We're all wearing harnesses. Like, the trade is changing, and some of the things maybe we don't agree with, but it's not going to go anywhere, right? Like, the innovation's always going to be there. And if we're constantly anchoring down and not, trying to be better and improve, that's a bad mindset to have. That's just my opinion. Like, we got to embrace it. And when those things come up, let's just figure out a way we're journeyman. Let's figure out the best way to do it and embrace it, so we can, move on and not complain. I don't know.
You're boxing a ghost, dude, if you try to fight it.
Yeah, you're boxing a ghost.
You're boxing a ghost. It ain't going to work.
It's about as dumb as a bowling on both ends.
That's a good one.
Yeah, man.
I've never seen that. Good luck.
Cool.
Good luck with that one.
We got a ton of Jay-isms on this.
Oh, Jay's? Oh, yeah.
We're captioning the Jay-isms.
Oh, no.
That's going to be the title.
It's going to be
the bowling in both ends.
Bowling in both ends.
That's a
What's
book.
that?
Yeah,
That's a book. Oh, shit.
What's that? That sounds cool.
Yeah. The Life and Times of the Village Idiot. A bullet in both ends.
All right, cool. Here we go. Next question. We're going to look ahead a little bit. Speaking about the work scope and maybe meeting the demands of the capacity of society. Raul, Jay, is it a good time to be in the trade?
Yes, absolutely. It's a good time to be in the trade. It's not busy as we'd like to see, but yeah, there is some risk. I will say that there is some risk because some of our knowledge, and I got a 35-year vet sitting in front of me already talking about retirement, which is crazy, but we're losing some of that knowledge. So it is a little bit, it's a little bit scary too, but it's a great time to be in the trade because of, I think, the opportunities that are out there, right? There's a lot of opportunities, a lot of good work still. Here locally, these contracts are set up for success where you can be at a company, you can make a home, you could stay there, you can stay in the same area for years, and if you're a good hand, you're going to work. And if work, gets a little slow, not just locally, but there's work across the country. We got district offices for our company that are super busy. They're going to do like I said, 500 million, 600 million this year. No, and we're just questioning how we're going to man it, right? So there's opportunities everywhere. I think it's a great time to be in the trade. I do.
Yep.
Mr. Clark?
Definitely. I kind of look at it this way, though. If you come in it with your head screwed on straight, you don't even have competition out there. Let's say you're going to be the journeyman lineman that's going to do it right. You're going to have that contrite spirit. You know, you're going to be a badass because you care.
Yeah.
Because all you have to do, honestly, I believe this is true. Maybe not. Maybe some people are physically inept differently or whatever, or able. But the give a shit is a choice. It's 100% choice. And if you care, and if all that stuff that you, like I say, you take it and stuff it in your ditty bag. Hey, I just learned something cool. If you get excited over rigging and shit, you know, like, hey, what did he just do? How did he get out of that? What kind of knot was that? Whatever. If you're gonna choose to be that guy, there is no competition for you because so many people don't give a shit right now. That's the truth. I mean, I'm not bagging on the trade, but that hunger for rigging and all that type of stuff that we do, when I see it in a young kid, I'm just like, oh, thank God. It just makes my heart. And then I want to dive in the middle of some shit with them too. You know what I mean? Because I still got it. After all these years, I love that shit. I got more rope in my garage than any human being alive.
We need some.
I mean, I got rope issues. And I think it's cool. Like, I mean, we were able to I can get out of any bind that any human's put himself in.
Do you still carry rope in your truck?
Yeah, I got
what about
rope
that
in
Mercedes Benz out there?
No. I had a pull gen in there Sunday. But actually, you know,
Cool.
I think if a person came into this trade understanding what you really have to do, and I'm telling you what the attraction is for guys like me and you, I'm sure too, is the go-to guy that can go make that shit happen, and he's got a completely good attitude about everything, and he's all about it, and he'll put the wheel chocks out, and he'll put the outrigger pads down, and put the caution tape up, and wear his FR and all this shit, understanding that he's got the best job on the planet. Why you want to risk this stuff?
Attitude and effort.
Attitude and effort. It's all about that. And I think
Attitude
if we
and
could
effort.
pull that off, then you got it.
Absolutely.
Man. All right. Jeez. Good stuff here. All right. We're going to hit you guys right in the gut with this one.
Oh.
What is a lineman's greatest resource? Oh.
Lineman's greatest resource. I think the easy probably answer would be a cell phone or, you know, the gram. No, YouTube. No, I think it's I kind of mentioned at the start of the podcast. I think if a lineman, it's maybe more of a mindset, I'll shift it to a mindset. It's like having perspective. Because you just mentioned it right now about having a choice. And I want to peel that layer back a little bit as far as a resource too, because you're right. Like being safe and doing the right thing, that's a choice. And it's always life is about choices we make, right? And it's sometimes we got to make the wrong choice to understand that there's a better way of doing something or having a right way of doing things, right? We learn that way by making a mistake. But if you think about perspective, and and Cody Gandy talked about this too, and I really love the way he puts it. But as far as understanding perspective, and it really makes you appreciate of who you are today, right? Of the things, and even our trade. If you think about where we came from as a trade, the industry as it came up, us as contract linemen, it was a different. I mean, you go back 20 years, just 20 years, and that's not a long time ago. It's a different mindset. It was a different shift. We've come so far, and if we look back at where the trade needs to go and where we're going, I think if we had if a lineman had a perspective of where we came from, I think it'd be that much clearer to know where we're going. And I think you have to understand that as a resource too. And there's tons of resources out there for linemen. What are your thoughts, Jay?
Well, there's always that dude in the yard that you know that knows, and it's whether or not you're going to go ask him.
Yeah.
And whether or not he's going to be willing to. Those are relationships that you got to build. This is what I'm talking about. You got to be willing. So it starts with us. We open that up in our yards. We open that up in our safety meetings and all that. Master's not above the servant. If you want this shit to happen, you have to be that guy yourself.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen unless you're going to be the dude that's going to start it too. And then being willing, because I know I got dudes in the yard that I could go ask them the hot ticket on hanging an SR or whatever it is. We got those dudes. I got a handful of them that are complete badasses at the distro side of the fence, and they know all the little ins and outs and the tricks and all that. Or these other people that might have that job willing to go hit them up. And I think that for the most part, everybody's willing to help each other. Not always. I mean, we're working on it.
We're getting better.
We're getting better though.
Yeah.
But there was a time back in my era where it would have been, I ain't telling them shit. I want them to fail. I want to clown them. You know what I mean? Because that was really like that. And so there was a whole different pressure put on you to not, it wasn't okay to suck at all at anything. You know what I mean? It just wasn't. You couldn't be weak. You couldn't say, hey, I got a drinking problem. You couldn't say I got a drug problem. You couldn't say anything. You just had to deal with it. And you couldn't be a puss about anything. And that's stupid, by the way. I mean, in anything. I'm just throwing those out for instances. But I think that there's the guy in the yard that knows, or there's that phone call that you were talking about. We need to be willing to make that phone call. And so if we open up the dialogue for that kind of stuff, it'll happen. But it really needs to start really with us being willing. I noticed you guys having this epsilon front, and you guys got all this stuff that you guys got these people trying to open people up into that. And I think that's going to be a success if you keep doing it. Yeah. Probably going to work out for you.
Yeah, we hope so.
Good stuff. All right, time to kind of peel the layer back on yourselves here. You guys have both successfully run corporations, company, organization, lead a construction company. What's next for you guys? Oh, what you got?
What's next for me?
Yeah, what kind of goals you got? Like, what's going on? I mean,
God, I can't wait to learn to play my Gibson J45 Sunburst, my guitar. Haven't got it yet.
Hey, maybe we can plug it into the audio mixer. You can do our intro music.
Trying to keep that sharpen the mind up a little bit, learn to play guitar. No, I think it's for me. I'm truly blessed, man. Like, I got great relationships with a ton of good people out there that I've, been able to keep those relationships along the way. I got probably one of the best jobs out here, leading a company and being the guy that there's comes some stress, but there's a lot of wins to it too, right? Like I'm passionate about the trade, no different than Jay. I think I love the trade, to see it grow and to see it just get better, to see those projects come together that are successful. Helping out down there at the JTC, in any aspect is always fun too, to give back as much as I can. Because the trade has done me well. I mean, I cannot complain of what an amazing trade this is, and I love it. And I've always said, like, for me, it's like I'm probably one of the hardest guys to work for, even probably harder than Jay, but we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun, and we're gonna have fun doing it, because that's what the trade is about. Ultimately, it's about having fun and building relationships. And seeing projects come together and be successful. So for me, that's really it, man. I don't really have much more than that.
Jay, what you got? What's up your sleeve there? Well,
first of all, I got a medical issue, so I'm not so sure how long I'll be around here, to be honest with you. It's called reoccurrent cholangitis, and I got sepsis inside my bile ducts of my liver. So I'm taking all these antibiotics. So when they quit working, I'm probably going to quit working. But what's cool about that, and I'm not trying to sound all stoic or anything, is you get a chance to look at shit differently. So I don't stare at my retirement account freaking out about that, because there's a good chance I won't be spending all that cheese anyway. But my little kid will, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I started taking jiu-jitsu classes. It's real humbling to get choked out and shit by people smaller than you. I think that's really cool. I didn't think they could do it, but they can. If it wasn't for the mat funk, I'd still be doing it, but I can't get any mat funk. So, there's some funk. There is some funk on that mat. So I had to give that up. I just dropped out here a few months ago. My doctor said, are you getting any kind of staph or anything? No good for you. Ooh. But anyway, so I got like according to the books, 3 to 9 year run. I don't believe that. I'm going to holistic doctors and shit. I think I can beat anything. But what it's caused me to do, and this isn't no bullshit, and this is just straight up. The ability to stand up there at the King Gillette Ranch and have enough balls to go out there and do that. I only got one shot at this thing now. Like, I really know that there's something coming up that's, and I believe in God, so I'm not tripping about any of that kind of stuff. But I want to do things differently, because I kind of fucked up my life a little bit for a while. I didn't always do shit right. You know what I mean? I got an opportunity to change things. And that's what a lot of people don't get. You just don't. I wasted some time with that ego and that pride. I think that was a big mistake. I mean, I'm looking back at my mistakes, and I have an opportunity to change it. So I'm just going to do it. Like I said, you have to put yourself in a play and become that character, because I don't know how to do it. Naturally, I'm an egomaniac, and I'm not going to help anybody, and I'm just going to do my thing and try to win. Okay. But that's the weak man. The strong man wants to sit there and just lay himself out there and be a servant to everybody. And if it works, it works. And if it don't, it don't. You know, but I'm saying at the end of the day, I'm going to be talking to the Huckleberry one of these days, and I want him to go, okay, well, there for a while, you weren't doing all that good, but you're doing better now, so to speak. So there's that aspect of it. As far as what's with Wilson, I think the bulk powers is going to be kicking up a lot more than what it was. I think that we're looking at 2026, 27, going to start up another big run of it. Maybe somewhere in there is the rumors. And Kyle, the guy that's running the big bulk power stuff for him, is going to go up. He's going to be working on Trans West. So I'm going to peel off and go do some bulk power stuff here pretty soon, which is good. I like it better. But nevertheless, that whole North Coast thing that we started and all that, I'm still going to be a part of it and kind of be like an area guy. You know what I mean? Try to do my very best. I think, like I said, I think that with Wilson and our helicopter wing and all the other stuff that we got going on, we could take it to the next level. But first of all, first things first, I want to make sure that we got everybody dialed in on the right headspace, you know?
Yeah.
Because it can go bad quick.
Yes, it can.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Raul, man,
nice job.
I'm going to be finishing up that last part. I think Jay nailed it, man. I think that was pretty good.
Yeah, this is awesome, man.
Yeah.
Did you have fun today?
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you?
I loved it, dude.
I do.
This is we've been wanting to do this for a long time.
I've been avoiding it because I thought I didn't have much to say or whatever, but honestly, I can't shut the fuck up, so I have something to say.
Almost 2 hours.
I kept telling you that you can't shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
You're gonna be just perfect.
It's all good. There's a lot of good shit to talk about whenever if you really love this trade, dude, there's a lot of good shit.
Oh, you can just keep going and going, man.
Just keep feeding that chipper.
We'll close this thing out.
Sorry, guys.
It's been fun, man. Jay, dude, thanks for coming out, dude. It's been fun. You're an exceptional leader. Like I said, out there at the King Gillette Ranch was fun, dude. You did an awesome job, and we just got to keep building on it. That was the intent for this.
Down.
Keep breaking those silos down. We're gonna close out today really quick. I got something out of our leadership strategy and tactics really quick just to close this out. It's about decentralized command and how important it is for everybody to lead. And I think you agree, breaking down the silos so that everybody can lead is probably the strongest culture we could build. So this is page 309 here. If I have to jump to solve one particular issue, this is Jocko, I cannot see other problems. So my goal is to utilize decentralized command, which allows me to look up and out instead of down and in. So look and having that strategic mission look, which allows me to look up, out instead of down and in. To keep sight of the larger challenges instead of being narrowly focused on the minutia. So just to close us out, I think it's important, if you guys got anything out of this podcast, it's definitely to lead with passion, to know your craft, right? To be strong in doing what's right. And it's okay to, if you see something, say something out there. So appreciate that. Paul, did you have fun?
Yeah, man. Great time. I think Jay, you guys did both great.
Good job.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to get
good collaboration, man.
Thank you again, man, for coming out here.
Thank you.
Really quick, I just want to thank our promotional partners. Guys, before I do that, though, please like this podcast, share this podcast. It really helps us out, helps Paul out, actually, keep his job. So
yeah, come on.
Keep this message going. No, nice job, Paul. I want to thank our promotional partners, Milwaukee Tools. Appreciate what you guys are doing. Klein Tools, always supporting us for Crew of the Month. Appreciate what you guys are doing, helping us out with that. Total Safety. What's up, Danny? Again, thank you for all your support. And then ultimately, our newer promotional partner, High Voltage Industries. What do you say? It's the biggest brand on Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Check them out. Appreciate the swag, guys. Thank you for all you do. Be safe. Be cut in. Always be your brother's keeper. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate you.
Thank you.